Thomas Levin was elected to the Beverly Hills City Council in 1992 and re-elected to a new four-year term in March of 1997. Currently, he is vice mayor and has been a practicing attorney for 23 years with emphasis in contract negotiations, litigation management, and land use. He is currently managing partner of his law firm that has offices in Los Angeles and Orange County, and is a general counsel for the largest independently owned real estate brokerage in the United States. Tom Levin was mayor of this city from April 1996 through March of 1997, and is probably responsible for me getting more involved in the city volunteer system with his team, Beverly Hills Concept. It is my honor to announce the Honorable Thomas Levin.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I've waited 2 years to say this again, that it's a great time to live, work, and enjoy life in Beverly Hills. But being up here with these extraordinary ladies and gentlemen and recognizing their contributions brings to mind, since they've all talked about highlights, one of the lowlights of my career in Beverly Hills in 1992, when the first time I ran for office. I'd only lived in this city for 5.5 years. And I was walking around trying to get votes and knocking on doors, and I never thought that I'd be able to tell this story, but I saw Fred Leopold tonight. And I thought I knew everything about everything, and I knocked on Mr. Leopold's door, and I had walk sheets, and I looked at my sheet and it said, Fred Leopold lives here. And he opened the door, and he's a tall gentleman. He was standing on this threshold, and he looked even taller. He looked about 8 feet tall. And I said, hi, I'm Tom Levin. I'm running for city council, and I hope I can get your vote. And he looked down at me, and he said, you're active in the city? I said, oh, yes, Mr. Leopold. He said, you think you know a lot about what's going on, and you've studied, and you feel that you'll be qualified to be a city council member? And I said, yes, Mr. Leopold, and I hope I get your vote. And he said, well, I've been active in the city. I said, oh, is that right? He said, do you have any idea how active I've been? I said, no, I really don't. So I know I didn't get Mr. Leopold's vote that night. But it's nice to see you again, Fred. But that was topped, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, only by the evening that I won, and I was so excited, and I was standing in my kitchen, and someone taps me on the shoulder, and it's Mark Scott, and he says to me, congratulations, and I looked at him, and I said, thank you, who are you? So anybody can do this job. Don't believe what the rest of them tell you. But there were quite a few highlights during the time that I was mayor, and I wanted to echo what all my colleagues have said beforehand, that the highlights are only come about as a result of the ability of the mayor to convince at least 3 people on the council, and hopefully the other 4, that the ideas that you have to put forth are good ideas and worthwhile for the community. And really that's the true measure of leadership, and we had a lot of fun on the council. I've served with 3 councils now, all different, all extraordinary in their own way. And the first thing that I thought about when I was a council member was, how can we improve the communication? How can we get more people involved in council meetings? And so I had this idea of a call-in, that during open communication, I wanted to allow the public to call the city council. And we have that now, and in fact, we're the only city council in the state of California that has that. But it wasn't that easy. I had council members say to me, well, what happens if they call up and they criticize us? They're anonymous. That's going to happen. Well, it took about 6 months for me to convince them that, no, that won't happen in this community. They're really interested in the issues. And in fact, we've had great success with that. And not only that, but when I was mayor, I wanted to do something that was a little different and a little fun, and that Mayor MERALEE Goldman promised me that she would never do when she was mayor. And looking around here, it makes me feel good, because I had, for those of you who remember, the Beverly Hills Historical Quiz. You could call in 285-1020 during our council meeting, and I would have this historical quiz, and you could win dinners to Spago and the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. And weren't those great times? I know that they were. And in fact, if I can gather another 3 votes in March of 1999, you will again have that opportunity to win wonderful prizes. But that then turned into what I would call a community business opportunity, which was the farmers market. And I was up in Northern California at my sister's house, and I went to a farmers market. I'd never been to one before. Came back to Beverly Hills, said to one of my colleagues who's sitting right where Max Salter is sitting, and said, "What about a farmer's market?" And Max, who was mayor, said, "No, I don't think we can do that." And I kept after Max for about 6 months. Every week I'd say, "Max, we got to try this." He said, "Okay, let's try this." And it took about a year to put together, and now I think we have the most successful farmers market in the state of California. We have over 200,000 people who visit our market. We started with 20 farmers, we're up to 50 farmers, and it's really a place to meet every Sunday, and we're all, I think, very proud of that. Alan was nice enough to mention Team Beverly Hills, and I owe a debt of gratitude to Larry Cohn, who put this together with me and has been our leader. And Larry and I met at a restaurant, and he said, "What are you going to do as mayor?" And I said, I got this great idea. It's called Team Beverly Hills. And we sat down and we studied various leadership programs throughout the country. And we think that we borrowed from the best of them. And we've now had 50 graduates go through that program. So that means 50 new leaders who are inspired about our community. And I think that will be the real legacy of what I'll leave to Beverly Hills, which will be new people who can lead this community into the future. We also had some success with education, something called E-Day or Education Day in Beverly Hills, which was put together by Richard Stone and myself. It came from an idea from the Conference of Mayors, which I understand that the school district will pick up again in the spring, and we were very happy to see that. We also had Police Park and Walk. And I was at the Conference of Mayors speaking to the mayor from Niagara Falls. Actually, I didn't know Niagara Falls was a city. I thought it was a place that you visit. And I saw his tag, and I didn't quite know what it meant. But I was talking to him, and he was a former police chief. And I said, "Well, tell me the number one thing that you have done as mayor that's been the most popular in your city." And he said, "Oh, I started this Police Park and Walk program." And he sent me all this information. And what it is that the officers get out of their cars and walk through the residential streets for about 15 minutes of each hour shift. And Marvin Inone tells me that this has been very popular with the officers, so I'm very proud of that also. And then I know that we talked about getting the consensus on the council and getting the consent and approval and advice of all of your colleagues. And when I was sworn in, there was something that I wanted to do, and I wanted to change the envelopes, the mailing envelopes that we all get. And before, they were just plain white that said City of Beverly Hills, and I had this idea, and I wanted to put some color on them, and I wanted them to really be exciting looking. But then I thought, well, if I bring this up at the council, they're going to redesign it, it'll never happen. One council member will want purple, one will want blue. So I said to Mark Scott, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to announce it on the day that I'm mayor. So I got up there at the installation, and I said, "And ladies and gentlemen, here's our new envelopes." And I remember turning around, looking at my colleagues, and Vicki and Alan and MERALEE, and they sort of looked at me like, we didn't talk about that. But they were nice enough not to say anything other than to support the idea. And that then turned into to additional notice to the residents and the notice of pending action, which most of you have seen throughout the community. When there's some pending development in your residential community, you'll now know what it is because the property is posted. And then finally, we had developed a risk management portion of our legal committee, where periodically we meet now and review all of our cases, and Mark has told me that we've saved hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years that we've been doing this, and I'm very proud of that. And most of all, I think I'm proud just to be a part of this community, so thank you very much for that opportunity.
Say, Tom, just to correct the misapprehension here, I did vote for you, figuring anybody that got the guts he has deserves to be in office.
MERALEE Goldman was elected to the Beverly Hills City. MERALEE Goldman was elected to the Beverly Hills City Council in April of 1994. Prior to serving on the council and being elected mayor in March of 1997, she was a city commissioner for 18 years. Mrs. Goldman was a member of the Beverly Hills Architectural Commission from 1975 through 1985 and served on the city's Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Adjustments, and Planning Agency from 1985 through 1993. Councilmember Goldman is a professional city planner. The Honorable MERALEE Goldman.
Thank you very much. I think if you look about and listen to the other mayors and all of us this evening, there are a few things that are very apparent. First of all, it's commitment. Everyone who does this job really loves doing it. You'd have to love doing it or you wouldn't take it on. You'll find amongst the mayors a lifelong dedication to the city and a caring spirit, and I think it's something that we all enjoy very much. If I had to pick out the very best thing about this job, I would say it's the people you work with and the people you work for. We're a team. Everyone has told you that. We work together. The issues that we discuss, the projects that we create, we do together. We mostly bring forward our own ideas when we're mayor, but we couldn't bring them to fruition without the whole team together. And in fact, when we worked with a leadership training person who works with many cities, one of the things he picked up on was that our team can tease each other and laugh together and disagree without being disagreeable. And that works to the benefit of the city. And I think it's because we all care so much. I think every person who's spoken tonight has spoken out of that love of the city and the commitment. And it is an enormous privilege to serve because it really isn't about us as individuals. It's always about the city and the dedication that we feel to the future. Because I'm sitting between the colleagues that I have served with, I'm going to say very little about the past history. I really want to talk about the future history and where we're going and what we've done to address those issues. You've heard mention made of Tom's project for Team Beverly Hills, and there are at least 2 and perhaps even more members sitting here tonight, members who have run for office, who've taken their training seriously. Last night I read through all of the evaluations, and it was wonderful to see how much last year's team enjoyed the project. It's a benefit to the city for now and for the future. We have many important issues in front of us right now. We have water issues, we have electrical issues, lighting and wiring. We have development of the last 2 big double parking lots, those lots we call the D lot and the T lot between Beverly and Cannon. Serious study. We have the post office. It was certainly Vicky's vision when that property became available and was offered first to the federal government, then to the state, then to the county, and finally to us. And the vision was there that we should do it. We should acquire this property so close to the Civic Center. I was thrilled to sign the papers that made that property ours just a short time ago, but with the consent of the entire council. And now the question is, what will we do with it? And how will we use it? And how will it best benefit the community? And these are not easy questions to answer. Many ideas have come forward, and we will begin to do some transitional uses when the post office moves out, so that we as a community can see what that building will mean as not a post office, but the potential for a community cultural center. Many things ahead of us. Lots of development is coming back. Former mayors have spoken about how difficult it was during the recession years. Well, now we're back at the edge of a boom. What happens when it turns around and lots of people come to us and we have the potential for an enormous amount of development? We need to very carefully and wisely look at that. And we need to be very sure in the future of blending the business community and the residential community and helping people to work together. Just as we're a team, so is business and residents in this city. It must be a team. And that's the other part of the formula. It's the people that we work for. Some time ago, one of the newspapers did a story on the most powerful women in Beverly Hills. I didn't go the day they took the pictures because I really didn't think the power rested with us. I feel very deeply that the power rests with the people. And in fact, when you campaign in this community and ring those doorbells and talk to the people and have an opportunity to hear what concerns them and what worries them and what they'd like to have happen, you learn more than you could ever learn anywhere else. And you learn about what your job really is for the future. What about the ethnicity of our community? and the many ethnic strains that live and work in our city. We need to be one community. We need to work together. When we run for office or for the school board, it's not representing an ethnic group. We run not politically from the parties that we may support privately. We run not in our neighborhood just to support our particular corner of the city, but we are a family. You've heard that term so many times, and the work that we've done and the work that we do has to represent every interest in the city. And I suppose if there's anything I care most about and would be most proud of, it's the desire to create new leadership. And it was in that format that this year I asked my colleagues to help, and they joined with me in creating a new program for choosing our commissioners. And rather than each council person picking someone they knew, we now have a program where we have very difficult applications. They're not quite as hard as a master's thesis, but very close. And we now have interviews so that even someone brand new to the city, as Tom was, who doesn't know anyone, has the chance of serving on a commission if they have the interest and the ability. That's a great step forward, and it's something perhaps in all my time on council that I am most proud of. We lost the Weitzman collection, and I feel Max's pain because I felt it then as I do now, but we will have a great loan from the Weissman collection coming through our Fine Arts Commission, and it's something I'm very proud to tell you about, and we will soon have it in City Hall. We have new works of sculpture on the lawn of City Hall. Come and see them and appreciate them and enjoy the loan that we've been given for the city and for all of us. What about the relationship with the community? I warned Les as he took office, I've been writing 30 to 50 to 60 letters a week to those of you who write to us. It's an important line of communication. You need to get in touch with the City Council. We need to hear from you. And what about our urban design projects? We haven't mentioned those yet, the work that we're doing on Cannon Drive. Yes, it is my field, and I'm extremely interested in it, but I'm not the only one. We as a council are extremely interested in it and interested in the development of Cannon Drive and the other streets of our triangle. We're going to be looking at those very seriously, looking at how to implement the plan, looking at where the money can come from to make these things happen. So I'm talking about some of the things which we've done as a council, which we're very proud of, the study and the planning. But I'm talking about the future and where we need to go. What will the post office be? We need to hear from you. We need to know your passion. There's so much that's happening in this city. The President of the United States said the mayors have the best job in America because we're closest to the people. He meant it's because we manage the garbage, and we do. And we'll be doing a new garbage program up in the area north of Sunset to try and get the cans off the street. It's a simple issue, but it counts a lot for the folks who have to deal with it. So where are we? We're trying to change the lights. We're trying to implement the water issues, put the wells in, do the water treatment, be sufficient for 25% of our water supply in a disaster. We're trying to do a lot of things to make life even better for all of us. This week, we had the 9th of a series of Millennium Forums. It's a program we started this year as a gift to the community. It's a program I'm truly proud of because the government, the White House, has picked it up as a national initiative. I believe it's the first time any program of ours has been taken nationwide as an example for the rest of the country. We've had wonderful speakers. It's the city's gift to the citizens. And at the program this week, the speaker, who was a young man that grew up and was educated in our city, presented a book called Big Dragon. It's a study of the economics of China, and there's a great line in the book which says, it's a kind of proverb, maybe it's a blessing, maybe it's a curse from the Chinese. It says, may you live in interesting times. We do. Thank you.